Hello humans, I hope that you're all doing well. I am back with another video and episode of BFFR. In this very specific series, I discuss various subjects that impact my life, my daily life, and impact the life of others. I come back to you today with a new subject that will be mostly poverty and crime and how both are correlated. The reason why I am making this video is because I've been motivated after having so many experiences of people just seeing crime as something out of this world and just happening in a vacuum. It leaves no room for improvement. It leaves no room for discussion. Motivated me also to make this video is because I recently moved. In the few months that I've been staying here, I've had two people specifically just using crime and poverty to degrade a certain population. But because of the power imbalance that was playing in our encounters, I wasn't able to really address their behavior. At one point here, I was working at a retail shop, and when I was working there, I one day had a few girls, young teenage girls, entering the store and just touching everything. I knew deep down that they were trying to distract me so that they could steal. I honestly don't have an issue with that per se, because I know that we live in a capitalist world. People are impacted by poverty left and right, and I don't really see that as something that is so disgusting. Of course, it hurts the business. Of course, yeah, you lose a bit of merchandise, but is it really that bad? Like, if they need the money, if it's something that can provide them some fun, why not? When I discussed the encounter with my colleague, I was telling her about how I felt very bad that those girls were being stigmatized because of their ethnicity, and those girls were Romani. So if you know about the Romani population in Europe, they are very stigmatized. The police is very violent towards them, and basically their lifestyle, which is nomadic, has been cut away from them. Thus, they cannot live the way that they were used to for centuries. And I told this to that person who worked next to me, and her only answer to that was, "Oh, beware, there's shoplift." Not only that, but it's in their blood. I was shocked to actually hear that again during a job interview. And during that interview, I was talking to a person, and that person literally asked me, "Do you have any concern that you stuff that you would like to discuss with us? Anything that I should be aware of? Any incident? Anything that I should know about before I start the job?" And that person told me there were times where those populations, they literally said that, but I know that they meant Romani people and Arab people, have had a few encounters and altercations in front of the shop. Since we are vendors, we are not really impacted by it, but it's in their blood. This kind of reminded me of a collaboration that I made with a very big governmental organization that is pretty much placed in every country you know about. They literally had this metaphor about crime that crime is a virus spreading in the city. To me, the idea of a virus is elusive, as in you don't really know the reason why it's there. It just happens. And so again, that is correlated to the idea of it's just in their genes, eugenism. If you don't know what eugenism is, it is the thought that humans can be designed, that some genes are better than others. Thus, some populations are better and more civilized than others. How about we just see crime as a shadow? Crime is a shadow of capitalism. It occurs because there's frustration there. If you follow my work and know what I've done when it comes to racism and antisocial behavior, I always say that people who are sociopathic today, display sociopathic behavior, have been traumatized in the past to the point where their self-esteem became so low that they thought the only way to counteract it was not to heal, but to inflate their ego, to abuse everybody. One example that I came across is Amanda the Adventurer. It's a horror game. To me, Amanda is the perfect example of what a sociopathic person can be. And you see in the video games how she sometimes gaslights her friend, Wooly.
Oh, it's you. Whatever you do, don't...
Oh no! Wooly had an accident! An accident is when something bad happens, but it's not anybody's fault.
I don't personally think that this is up for discussion. I know for a fact that if there weren't much frustrations for people would not be as sociopathic. Hello, this is Editing Me here. I feel like in all the Hollywood movies and just European cautionary tales about having everything that you want, no adversity can turn you into a sociopath because then you would be attached to your power and privilege. But that itself is a tale of narcissism. What I'm talking about here is that if we live in a world where we are given by our caregivers and caretakers the right tool for emotional regulation, you will have less chances to have antisocial dynamics among individuals. Of course, if you are subjected to trauma and don't know how to face it, sometimes you might end up just being self-destructive, and with more and more intensity, this self-destruction then turns into apathy, and that apathy can be then directed towards others, and that's the issue here. We pay attention to tales like Christian Grey, who is a man that was gifted this portrait of him. That portrait was aging instead of him. He just lived life not seeing the consequences to his actions, ended up being every shadowy aspect that a human can have. That story itself is a story of narcissism, because then you do not face what you create, and that's an issue. I'm talking about living in a society where people are emotionally regulated, and this also leads to another point. This frustration is transgenerational, and I feel like there's this duty that we have to face this aspect of us and also regulate it, learn new ways to soothe ourselves, have new cultures around medicine, healing people and healing ourselves, healing in community, before we can even want to create a society that looks like this. Now it is an attribute, it is a personality that is required to survive in the capitalist system. There's this TikTok.
Are you sick in the mind? Are you that mentally enslaved and intellectually subservient?
And I thought that it was very interesting because it reminded me of a time where this guy, I could see that he was a cluster B, and he was like, I want to have a lot of power. What will power bring to you? And he was like, I don't know, now I'm a lawyer. I want to become maybe a politician tomorrow. What type of politics do you want to apply to the country? Free market. I believe personally in communist system, and he got angry. What I meant to say is that people often would like to find refuge in this idea that genetically they're better than others. Of course, if we keep existing within this system, things are going to be like that, but it's not the case. Now we still have chances. Now I want to talk also about Charles' coronation and the fact that Tiwa Savage was the one who actually performed for him. I lived in Africa during my youth. I finished my high school in Africa. There is no middle class in Africa. Because of that, I don't think that I'm middle class for real. I actually think that I come from a wealthy class. Really, like, have relations. I know I existed and thrive in an elitist environment. You quickly understand how they do not really understand the absurdity and atrocity of the system. People would often justify their wealth due to the hard work that their parents did. Let's not minimize. Let's not forget that it came with exploitation of other people. If we really wanted to respect the livelihood of people who work for us, they will win as much as we do. But that's not the case. To go back to Tiwa Savage, I feel like the reason why she did what she did was because she came to a point where the bag was so attractive that she simply didn't even think about the repercussions of what she was doing. For her to accept to perform in front of the king for his coronation after so many European and Western artists refused, it shows a lack of self-respect. But But when I look at my life, I can definitely see my friends and people that I used to consider my friends congratulate me for such thing. When I was in high school in Africa, my high school was very expensive, but I remember that people were kind of like getting off of the fact that people who were poor were looking up to them and wanted to be part of the clan. It was so weird to me. Why would one person want people to look up to them while they're living in misery? And it again is correlated to sociopathy and narcissism. Where are the people that I heard and I actually exchanged with talking about how they wanted to do different from their parents? All that to say that please don't be mistaken. The reason why people commit crimes is because they're frustrated. Poverty is a traumatic experience. People have to understand that. And I really wish that you understand after listening to my series. But it's something that is entertained and sustained by the system, because if there is no poverty, if there is no crime, there is no need for centralized power. There is no need for a government. There is no need for police. I come from a village where women used to form alliances to confront people who did bad to others within their community. Accountability should be the main priority, not crime and punishment. I hope this episode allows you to change your perspective on poverty, on crime as a whole. I am not making this episode to diminish the trauma that you've had. I'm saying that the reason why we are that way is first that we are avoiding the main, most important discussions, and second, because we're relying on punishment rather than accountability and growth. That being said, I hope that you enjoy the content of my video, that you enjoy listening to my voice. If you want to support me, you can join my Patreon. There I make a tons of different content, just tips that I give to people if they want to get more in touch with their spirituality. I am also planning on launching this week or next week a new series that will be more on astrophysics and spirituality. If you enjoyed that, I wish you a beautiful evening, beautiful day, beautiful night. See ya.